It's being called a historic event. U.S. President Donald Trump has met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un in the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. Trump shook hands with Kim before stepping across the line dividing the two Koreas. Trump is the first sitting U.S. president to enter North Korea. He described it as a great honor. Kim also said it was a great moment and an expression of willingness to work towards a new future. Shortly afterwards, the two leaders held an impromptu news conference. Trump said today's events were without precedent.
And this was a special moment. This is, I think, really, as President Moon said, this is a historic moment, the fact that we're meeting. And I want to thank Chairman Kim for something else. When I put out the social media notification, if he didn't show up, the press was going to make me look very bad. So you made us both look good, and I appreciate it. But we've developed a great relationship. I really think that if you go back 2.5 years and you look at what was going on prior to my becoming president, it was a very, very bad situation, a very dangerous situation for South Korea, for North Korea, for the world. And I think the relationship that we've developed has meant so much to so many people. And it's just an honor to be with you, and it was an honor that you asked me to step over that line, and I was proud to step over the line. I thought you might do that. I wasn't sure, but I was ready to do it, and I want to thank you. It's been great. It's been great. Very historic. They were just saying, one of the folks from the media was saying this could be a very historic moment, and I guess that's what it is. But I enjoy being with you, and thank you very much.
Well, for more on this story, I'm joined now by journalist Bruce Harrison, who joins us from the South Korean capital, Seoul. So, Bruce, needless to say, quite a historic moment. Donald Trump, the first serving U.S. president to step foot on North Korean soil. What did you make of this?
Well, first off, it's President Donald Trump. Nothing ever goes as it's expected to. This was a spontaneous invitation, and a spontaneous invitation for a handshake that we're just hearing now lasted about 50 minutes long. So much more than a handshake. I'm not quite sure what they discussed. We're also hearing now that President Donald Trump has invited Kim Jong-un to the White House and vice versa. There are reports that Kim Jong-un possibly suggested that President Trump come to Pyongyang as well. So on the surface, this looks fantastic for both leaders. They seem to have this growing relationship despite the stalled progress in nuclear talks. And by and large, at least here on the Korean Peninsula, I think people are pondering, is this a pivotal moment in the peace process, and will it lead to serious change?
Well, Bruce, you mentioned this good relationship, Donald Trump often talking about it, even Kim Jong-un mentioning this. But did you think it was obvious from their meeting today, their interaction, that the two of them do really get along?
I think it's hard to say if they're actually close buddies. Donald Trump said that he and Kim Jong-un have something special, maybe beyond just the two of them. It's not understood by the rest of the White House administration or perhaps other world leaders. But President Donald Trump and Kim think they connect on some sort of wavelength, both being leaders, both being strong leaders. I've heard him say what we saw today. Obviously, Kim Jong-un felt it was his interest to make this trip to the DMZ. What exactly he wants to gain from it is a big question. Was this for a domestic audience? Was this for his standing in the world? It's unclear. But it was smiles and handshakes. The underlying meanings are a bit more difficult to try and unearth.
Well, we did hear the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, speak at his meeting with Donald Trump. We have a clip of some of what he had to say. Let's have a listen.
I believe, just looking at this action, this is an expression of President Trump's willingness to eliminate all the unfortunate past and open a new future.
All right, so some positive words there. Bruce, this will obviously be a boost for Kim Jong-un, his reputation, won't it?
Internationally, definitely. I mean, he was already given a significant boost when he met with President Trump in Singapore the first time. He's continued to meet with world leaders, including Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as the South Korean president multiple times. It's no question at this point that he has secured his leadership in North Korea and that he has a firm place in Pyongyang among an elderly now administration that was started by his father and grandfather. Ultimately, though, when it comes down to the peace talks, it's unclear what the next steps will be. Like I said before, President Trump suggesting that Kim Jong-un come to the White House, that would be an even bigger step for North Korea. At the same time, the critics have already come out and said, look at these photos. What does this say? Well, it says that the United States has accepted North Korea as a de facto nuclear state. Well, not a de facto, as a nuclear state. The leader of the United States holding hands with Kim Jong-un, crossing the border. It's accepting all these things that previous U.S. administrations have tried to distance and have tried to prevent, frankly. And President Trump doesn't necessarily seem to embrace it, but seems to think this top-down diplomatic approach is the right way to go about it. If he's wrong, it could be very bad for the U.S. government.
All right, so great PR for both of them. As you point out, some critics saying this is nothing more than political theater. Ultimately, the goal for the U.S., for Donald Trump, is the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. How likely is that, despite all these photo ops?
Once again, uncertainties at this time. I think a lot of people are more optimistic now because this does appear to be a step in the right direction, despite what happened in Hanoi. President Trump really hyped up that meeting in Vietnam, and then they sat down at the table and they were on complete opposite sides as far as moving the nuclear issue along. North Korea wanting sanctions relief, the U.S. taking a hardline position. I think that Kim thought Trump was softening on, and that's unless you give up your nuclear weapons up front, there's not going to be any sanctions easing. Even though they've met at the border, even though it's a very symbolic location, and even though it's a historic moment for the U.S. president to step foot in this enemy country, despite all that, we don't know any of the finer details about what's going on with the nuclear talks. What possibly could the U.S. do to encourage North Korea to give up its weapons? What could North Korea do further to encourage the United States to ease up on its economy? North Korea, frankly, thinks it's already done enough on the nuclear weapons front, and now it's the U.S.'s turn to act.
All right, journalist Bruce Harrison in the South Korean capital, Seoul, we thank you for that.